6 seconds in. Jeez, it's pretty dark right here. 12 seconds in. I don't know which way's better for my face. Oh yeah, there. You can see my face now over this way. So just a little bit of the car to the light. So yeah, just a little bit of a pause here, I guess, for now. I think I fulfilled 4 or 5 orders. Everything's going good. So I got 11 deliveries in, 72 kilometers. Customers seem to be happy so far. I don't think I've got any more customer feedback. 4 positive reviews. So it just says 4 positive reviews, and you can see the content there. So one of the other drivers started talking to me when I was at the Tim Hortons, and apparently there's only one Tim Hortons in all of Victoria that we're able to pick up from. So in a way, it's a little bit inconvenient because it's way over by the university on Shelburne and Mackenzie, I think it is. And so then you got to go from that Tim Hortons to anywhere in the city that somebody ordered Tim Hortons from. So that's a little bit inconvenient because that's the only location that's actually accepting deliveries for Skip. And so yeah, that being said, that's added a little bit of a challenge and more duration towards the time. I don't know if they're adding in the account for how much time it takes and adding up a few extra dollars to try and account for that and make up for it. But it is what it is. At least we're busy. Yeah, my shifts are good. We spoke about that already. And let's go here. So my total earnings, you can see everything. Pretty straightforward. But there's one on here again that's not showing up. Quite odd. But I sent them a message and they said it's probably due to the server and the high volume of content that's going out there. So that being said, it should show up eventually. So there is actually one order that I fulfilled this morning. And that was actually a pickup from a 7-Eleven location and delivered it to the location of desired service. So everything's working out good. I'm kind of happy. I wish I was a little bit more busy, but obviously the morning rush is over because the guy that actually started speaking to me asked who started at 7, and obviously out of the 3 of us there, he was one of them. There's one other girl. She wasn't responding to anything he said. And then he asked me how good of a morning it was. I said, I think I got about 4 up to the point that he asked me. And I was like, pretty good, not too bad. So that's kind of a good insight because he seems like he's been playing the game for quite a bit longer, because one of the last things that he mentioned was that he hadn't seen me around before. So obviously, as you start to build up and do this, you're going to start to recognize faces. You're not always going to be able to see each other, so I guess interact with them as much as possible. Some people, you can just tell that they're not into interacting, kind of like that girl. She's just glued to her phone, and you can just tell off their body language if they're going to talk to you or not. I could tell off his body language as he's walking up to the station pickup that he was wanting to speak. He was wanting to strike up conversation. Obviously, he's bored working by himself all day, right? Like, you can only do this so long, and you can't text while you're driving, so you'd have to be talking, but then you could possibly be missing orders. So we're just sitting here waiting for things to happen. I'm kind of right close to Uptown, so it's still kind of the highlight spot. I was just cruising back up and taking a break. I took a break there at 7-Eleven, and I thought, well, wait a second here. There's Starbucks right across the street, so might as well go and do a live stream while I've got a few extra minutes to wait. So this is basically what happens as soon as you're done. It just sends that blue bar across and waits till it matches orders. So I've been accepting every order that comes my way and trying to fulfill them as quickly as possible. So one of my, I think the last feed I said that they wait until you, or actually the morning feed, whatever, they wait until you get there before they build the order. That's not always the case, right? So I went to one McDonald's today, and the order was already ready for me as I walked in the door, so that was great. It is a great idea to come in with the bag. It's a lot different than the night. The nighttime seems to be a lot more relaxed, and it's just a steady flow Skip drivers. So you can just more or less say your number. You don't even need your phone at that point. But in the daytime, I think having the phone with you definitely helps, because then you can click that button that you've picked it up, because people are watching the activity. They're watching when their food is arriving, right? Obviously. So as soon as it says that I picked up an order, then they're getting notification of that. And then they're getting notification most likely again when I'm on the road, because it asks you if you received the order, and then it asks you if you're ready to drive. So you got to swipe again, and then you go forward from there. So they're getting notification of when you're on the road. I'm not sure if they're tracking you. Like, I know that the app is tracking me and it knows exactly where I am, but I'm not sure if the people do. It almost kind of seems like it, because there have been, 3 of them so far that have been waiting for me. So that's kind of nice, because I don't have to go and knock on the door. I don't have to hunt for the place. I'm still been hunting. Some of the addresses aren't quite adding up. Like the one I went to, it was a lower number than what it was showing on the sign. But just using common sense, nothing else made sense there, because it was a unit 4. So obviously I had to go into a complex area where there was like townhouses or whatever. So that happened to me twice. But only once. The address was kind of confusing. The second time, it wasn't as confusing, but I still ended up parking on the road, and I wait a second. I clued in and I turned the car back on and proceeded into the complex, because I didn't want to have to walk all the way up there and then walk all the way back, right? So, yeah, the app actually has a thing so that it can force the phone to stay on, so your screen is always on. That's why they recommend you to have your phone charger, basically, because just in case you don't hear the beep or the sound that it makes, then you can see the orange. So they give you really direct kind of color coding, right? Like everything's blue and dark, like gray, as you're sitting here waiting. And then as orders come up or things need to be swiped, everything's orange. So it's like just giving you that visual indicator. So that's kind of handy, makes it a little bit easier. I would say if we can continue averaging like this, like as it builds up, hopefully I start getting more and more orders to fulfill. But if we can maintain that $100 to $150, like I'm doing a 15-hour day today, so if I can maintain at least $150 for the day, I would say that's pretty good. It's not great. Like, it'd be nice to make like $250, but that's not going to happen. All the tips are different. What they charge, or for the distancing, I think they kind of got it figured out per kilometer, and they charge per kilometer. Not quite sure on that. I haven't got right into Skip that much. I just jumped right into this and going with it, and it's working for me. So I'm just going to continue going with it. I'm quite excited. So yeah, if you're new here, I signed on with Skip&Dash Friday. I think everything was final and cleared through at like 3 o'clock in the morning, somewhere 3:30ish, a Friday afternoon, and then Monday afternoon when I came home off of my little live stream craziness at Starbucks, my bags were actually waiting there. So you had to wait for the security clearance, and I went through all of that while I was doing the Starbucks thing. So it was a little bit in that adventure. I didn't bring the computer with me into the post office, obviously. So I had a little bit of a fiasco. If you do go through it, it's easier to sign on through your phone. Take all your pictures of your documents, like your license, your registration, your insurance, and either your birth certificate or passport. Do that through the phone. It's a lot easier, and then the app follows you. So then you want to get out and about to make sure it looks like you're an active kind of person. And then, you just got to pretty much keep going back and forth to the app, checking at it, checking your messages. So between not just email messages, you also have to check text messages. So you really got to be on top of this. And I guess that's kind of their way of seeing if you're proactive enough and if you're excited enough about it. They're not going to give you all the notifications, so you got to have like your notifications on for your email and your messages, obviously, to be making a noise so that you're checking it. Because I was like 2 hours, an hour and a half behind on some of my checks, which wasn't too bad. I was, from the time that I received my bags to the time I sent the picture, was 5 hours difference from when I went to sleep at night and woke up in the morning. So that didn't seem to be too big of a deal. Might have sped things up a little bit because it wasn't until about like 2 o'clock, I think, the next day when everything went through. So then I had to open up the app and got everything all set up within the app. It was pretty straightforward, simple. They walk you through it. Pay attention. It's quite simple, but it's quite simple to mess up because my first shift was last night. So that was the thing. When you're signing on through the process, then you can start signing on to your shifts, and they kind of go through it with you. And if you want to work all day, then press available all day, and then all your shifts, you don't have to like try and schedule your shifts through. They're just going to be scheduled right there. Live streaming pros, they're on, and they talk about the equipment that I'm looking at trying to get for this little situation. I want to try and get myself a live view solo and a few other pieces so that I can bring this live in my car all the time, and then it's not stopping at these Starbucks or McDonald's or wherever I can possibly stop to get an internet feed, and then do these streams whenever I have time. But going back to signing on, it was super easy. So then pay attention, because last night, after I went through the whole checkup of, like, there's the calendars, the second button, you can open shifts. So you go to availability, and you can see here, I wasn't able to actually start until October 12th. That's what they had mandated for me. So then I just went in, and you got to go to every day manually and check off that you're okay, and then that you want to work that day, and then you got to verify it. So I was able to verify right down to November 10th to start. And then that whole first week, you can see I was not able to work, but there's a way to bypass through that. So then what I did was go from availability to open shifts. And then when you go to open shifts, you can see there that there's the plus buttons all in green. So you're good to go when it's in green, right? And you can click on those to build your day. And so what happened to me last night actually was I kind of had this weird shift set up for today because it was all last minute. Oh, I got a thing going. And when I went to change my shift, it changed the whole day. So I had to rebuild my whole day all over again. But then I ended up going to sleep. Like, I finished my shift at 3 in the morning, and then I got to get going. And then started again at 7. So here we go. I'm just doing a live feed whenever I can. So the titles are kind of messed up, and I got to kind of come into a system for that. But anyways, I'll just keep you guys posted throughout the day on what the progress is, how it goes, the things that I'm learning. And I wasn't able to get everything in here, so sometimes I might repeat a whole bunch of stuff because you never know when somebody's going to jump onto the video and actually see what I'm doing. And then, yeah, I get forgetful and don't always remember exactly where I'm situated. So it gives you the arrow for directions. You can set it up for Google Maps if you want, and it seems to be working pretty good. There's a few situations where it's silly, sends me on turns that I can't go on. In a way, it can kind of get a little bit dangerous. Where am I going? Oh, I gotta go to that McDonald's way up there. So you kind of get sent all over the city in a way. But yeah, that's just part of it. It's COVID right now, so only certain locations are going to be offering the Skip&Dash service.